Hey guys, the big word is gel liners, cream liners, all these liquid liners that are in the little pots. You know, there are different kinds, different brands, whatever, and you know, some of them are much less expensive, some of them are more expensive, but when it comes down to it, everyone wants to know which is the best. Do they really, you know, stand up to smudging? Do they stand up to or do they flake? You know, how long do they last? Blah, blah, blah. And there are three main kinds that everyone kind of talks about. The first one is the MAC Fluidline. This one is pretty popular. This is the Fluidline in black. And then the next kind is the Loreal HiP cream, or it's called Color Truth Cream Liner. And this is black. You can tell this one is very used. I thought this one was getting dry, but really it's not. It's just all marked up, so it's lost its little shine. And then the latest one is the Coastal Scents Gel Liners, and they come in a bunch of different colors if you've seen my video on them. And this is True Black, I believe is the name. Yeah. Alright, so I've used all of these. I really don't notice a huge difference between from one to the other as far as how they apply and, you know, long wear and stuff. I've worn the Coastal Scents True Black all day today, and I really like it. It applied really nice. As far as how they all apply the same to me. They're all very smooth. So anyways, let me just get into what I'm going to do in this video. I am going to do a little test to see, just from one to the other, how they hold up after a few hours, side by side. How long, you know, do they flake? Because, you know, a lot of cream liners, if you rub your hand over them, if you swatch them, or even, you know, if you have them on your eye, you know, they'll flake after a little while. And I've never noticed that with any of these, and I chose black because I have black in all three of these. They all look the same, they all feel the same, but the big difference can be, do they all last, and do they flake, and how hard is it to wash off. I'm going to also try to get them off and see which one lasts the longest. So, I'm going to grab a pen. I'm going to have to go grab a pen, and on my hand I'm just going to write HiP, and then I guess I'll put CS for Coastal Scents, and then FL for Fluidline. Alright, so I wrote it on my hand. I've got the Coastal Scents, the HiP, and the Fluidline, and I put it on an area of my hand that feels the same. It's like the same smoothness over that area, so I'm going to be applying it to kind of the same type of skin. And I'm going to apply all of them with an angled synthetic brush. Alright, so here's the Coastal Scents. Can't really see what I'm doing because I'm facing the camera. I'm trying to... Alright, so I wiped off my brush. Now I'm going to apply the HiP. If I can get it. Alright, so if you see the HiP, I kind of thought I had the same amount, but it looks like I might need a little more. Alright. Again, I cannot see what I'm doing. That's good. I think that's all pretty even. Alright, so I applied an even amount of each one. I made sure that the layers were the same thickness. To my eye, just looking at them, if I didn't have them labeled or anything, the Fluidline and the Coastal Scents, the MAC Fluidline and the Coastal Scents, which are the ones on the outside, look, they kind of look the most similar. The HiP, it may just be because it's a little old, but I don't know, that's how it's always kind of applied. It's never applied as glossy as the other two, so What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave these on my hand for about an hour or so, and just to make sure that they're set and that they're dry. They all took about the same amount of time to dry, except for the HiP. The Coastal Scents and the Fluidline, or the Coastal Scents and the MAC, they took about the same amount of time to dry. The HiP dried kind of faster, like I said. It could be because it's older, but I mean, never really noticed it drying out. Like I said, I think it's just the dip marks that make it look kind of crappy. I'm just going to leave this on for an hour. Then I'm going to come back and test it and see if it flakes. And then I'm going to see if it smudges. And I am going to actually try to get them off of my hand and see which one is the most resistant, so you can see which lasts the longest. Alright, so it's been an hour. I haven't really been too careful with them. I've been cleaning, and I don't really notice anything other, I'll have to stand up, other than, oh Lord, I hope that's not blurring. On the Fluidline, there are some little areas that look chunky, like maybe it's flaked without me noticing. And I mean, I've been moving my hand a lot, so I mean, it's no different than your eyes. So, I don't know. I don't see any flaking on the other ones. But I'm just going to rub my hands over it like that. I haven't done it yet. I was just going like that. And see if any of them flake. Alright. Honestly, it looks like the Fluidline came off even more, and then down there it kind of, see that? Smudged off a little bit. The HiP didn't do anything. The Coastal Scents kind of flaked off in an area where I had some piled up. I think it was just along the edges, you know, or when you ran it, the thickness kind of, but on the actual line it didn't flake. So honestly, the Coastal Scents and the MAC Fluidline are behaving exactly the same. The HiP hasn't done anything. When I kind of feel it, you know, I just feel how they all feel exactly the same. Alright, so I've got some water on a tissue, and I'm just going to rub once and just see what happens. Alright, nothing. I'm just going to kind of go back and forth. Yeah, so they're pretty much all on there the same. I figured one of them would be coming off more. Rub a little harder. They all look like, they look the same. I don't know. Honestly, the formulas of the Coastal Scents and the Fluidline seem identical. The HiP, I can't really compare. I mean, it does look the same, but like I said, it did have that funny, not funny consistency, but it just doesn't apply as smoothly as the HiP. I mean, I'm sorry, the HiP does not apply as smoothly as the Coastal Scents of the Fluidline. Not smoothly, but I should say like these two are more wet, the Coastal Scents and the Fluidline. So now, I'm going to take a makeup remover wipe. This is a MAC wipe. Love the way these smell. And I'm just going to wipe over it once with that. And it looks like they're all rubbing off the same. Honestly, I expected there to be more of a difference between these, but there really isn't, so. This is so weird. I figured there'd be at least something that was different about some of them, but it looks like they're all rubbing off the same. Wow, so this isn't that interesting. I figured that there was going to be a clear winner. Not that I knew which one would be the winner, but figured that there would be at least one that did something weird, so. Alright, so for the price, I would say to get the Coastal Scents because it behaves the same as both of those. The Loreal HiP, I believe, is around $10. The Fluidline is around $16, and the Coastal Scents gel liner is $6.85 or $6.95, 6 something. I'll put the prices over in the info, but I don't know, usually, you know, with things there is usually a really big difference between, you know, things from product to product, and honestly there wasn't. So for the price, I would say get the Coastal Scents. And I think I mentioned this in the other video, but they all smell exactly the same, which is kind of weird. The L'Oreal HiP, I've probably had that for about 4 months, and it doesn't smell as good as it did when I first got it. So I think I'm going to just go ahead and throw that out, because now that I've got those other two, I really don't need that anymore. And like I said, you know, the consistency may be changing, and I'm just not noticing just because I've been using it so regularly, I guess. So I don't really notice when there's a big difference in that. But yeah, so I know this wasn't exciting as I was thinking it was going to be, but it's kind of impressive to me. And let me see, with honestly, the Fluidline, you may think that the jar's bigger. When you look at it, Fluidline's kind of, you know, you think you're getting a lot more than you are. Look at how, look, it doesn't start to like right there. And then this whole entire, you know, this jar looks like it goes almost to the bottom. And I hope you can see that, but you can see that the product doesn't really start. And then if you actually see, you know, it's not filling up this, it's just filling up the little screwy part. And with the Coastal Scents, you can kind of see that it's filling up the jar, and it kind of extends a little bit out from that lip. So I think that, hold it like this, you might be getting just a little bit more with the Coastal Scents. I'll have to check on the website and see if there's an actual ounce or whatever amount. And if there is, I'll put it over there if I can find anything about it. I know the Fluidline is 3 grams, 0.1 ounces. 0.1 ounce, that's not much at all. So, yeah. Alright, so hopefully that kind of helped you if you were thinking in your mind that, you know, I've got to stick with the Fluidline because it's, you know, better quality, it costs more, so it must be better, right? Well, that's not always right. So, hopefully this helped you out, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.